There karma to be demi-god, which is being superhuman kind of thing, like these gods in Greek mythology, Zeus and stuff like this. It's that kind of or thing like that. And you have the karma to be a god, which means like to be extremely, extremely powerful and omnipotent, even omni-thing being, or project yourself like this, just a projection. And that's can sound amazing. There are 31 rhythms in Abhidhamma, for example, of different projection of karma. But then what the Buddhist say? He says it's not enough. To be born as a deity or a god or in heaven, like be an angel type of thing, it's not enough. Why do you say it's not enough? It sounds weird because some people, it's enough for me. I just give me heaven. I just want to have fun. 70 virgins. I only want to have 70 virgins. That would be good for me. And milk and honey, whatever. It's not enough, they say, because it's based on karma. And what happened when you experience the karma? Let's say for a whole lifetime, I gave a lot of money to people, so I have a lot of this generosity karma, and I will be born as being really rich, very successful, whatever person. But every time I experience this moment of feeling I'm rich, I'm burned a little bit of this karma, a little bit of this seed. Every time I see myself, oh, I'm healthy, I'm burning a little bit of this karma of basically making other people feel healthy, whatever seed I created of health. Every time I'm smart, I'm bearing a little bit of this karma, I accumulate of, I help people to become smart, or whatever, create that karma. There's a whole science of what's called correlation in Buddhism to show what kind of seed create what kind of result. So it ended eventually. And what happened when it ended? I was a god. I was a really, really powerful being who had all this pleasure and control or whatever. But I burned out all this good karma. So what left in my karmic storage now? In my alive jnana I mentioned before, this karmic storage, or this karmic storehouse, what is left? And they will say, usually very shitty karma. So what happened? You will fall into some bad form, right? So they say the worst experience in the universe is a god just before he died. It can take billions of years, but there will be a moment in which they say you have a bad smell, or you start having a bad smell, the other gods, whatever, will shun him, and will actually, because they have clairvoyance, you see where he's going to go, and you could not do anything about it, and then you kind of fall into a really sad rebirth. And actually, every rebirth, because it's also a comparison stuff, will be sad comparing. Even if you're born as an angel, it'll be really sad. It's like everything, now you're just, I don't know, an angel. It's not much. It's also great suffering, but it might feel much lower than being an angel. So, and then it will take very, very long time to build the good karma again, to be reborn like this again. So they say that's not enough to be born as a god. The perfect Buddha paradise is not just about reborning as a god. It's about reborning at what they called a Buddha or Bodhisattva, because the Bodhisattva is not just that he's enjoying reality. The Bodhisattva all the time creates the seeds for more happiness. Like the Bodhisattva is kind of a god that sees himself giving at every moment the best he can to all the being in the world, helping other people. Because what creates good karma? Seeing myself, helping other beings be happy. What creates bad karma? Seeing myself, hurting other beings, or causing other beings to have suffering. That's all. So the idea of a Bodhisattva is the being who works in essentially to save all beings, knowing that him, other beings, and saving, the action of saving is empty, it doesn't really exist from its own side. Because and let's talk a little bit about karma and about compassion now. So how this compassion is viewed and karma. So the idea of karma is that our record of karma is not the same. It's not that if I give $1 to somebody and I give $1 million, I have 1,000,000 times stronger karma of giving, for example. They say that karma has power, and the power is dependent on many factors, which I perceive. They're all perceptions. It's all how we perceive it eventually. But for example, the factor of karma has to do how much the thing I help need what I give him. It's a different thing to give $1 to a billionaire and to give to Bill Gates and $1 to a starving beggar in Calcutta. Because I perceive my money doing better for the second. There is obviously how much money I give, how much I sacrifice. If I give $1,000, do I have only $2,000 in my bank and it's a big sacrifice, or do I have $1 billion? It makes a lot of difference. Also, how much I give 1,000, I give 2,000. Obviously, it happened. But also, for example, who I give it. To give a cookie to a dog, to give a cookie to a serial killer, to give a cookie to a normal person, to give a cookie to an enlightened being. It's very different karma. The higher the being, the better the karma. So what do you think is the best object of karma? What is the best object to give thing to?
Teaching.
Hmm?
Teaching.
Teaching? Okay, but that's what I give. But what is, let's say, cookie. What is the best to give when I give a cookie? So, okay, so let's remember, I answer. Let's remember that because karma is mental, so it's about how I see myself doing. And the best object to give karma, to do good karma, is all beings. If I can do an action that help all beings, it's much better than I do karma that help half of all beings. Even though you can argue it's infinite, so half of infinite is still infinite, whatever. But or it's different than the karma of helping finite number of beings. Doesn't matter how many beings I help the whole planet. You see nothing comparing to say to do something that help all beings. But like infinite karma in a way. So I want to do almost every action that I do, at least in my perception, to do something that help all beings, because this is the strongest object of karma. I want to do it from the standpoint of that I do the best help, and they ask what is the best help I can help all beings. So they say, okay, the best help is to bring people closer to enlightenment themselves. Because if I give somebody $1 million, it doesn't immediately make him happy. You can waste it on crack or heroin, so be assurance that he'll be happy. But if I teach person Dharma or the path for his own enlightenment, then I did something which really be good, and not only for him, it will go everybody, because he become a Buddha himself. He will help a lot of beings as well on the way and afterward, as an example. So, so the best is to teach people Dharma, to help people to become enlightened. But they say that there are 4 things that are considered to be the great giving, and you want to think about all of them, which is basically give being protection, nourishment, love, and Dharma. That's the 4 aspects of giving usually that you want to give. And when a person, as I say, it's mental, so it's all about how our mind works. So we want to be skilled in creating this good karmic seed. So how would we be skilled in creating good karmic seeds? For example, let's take the idea of somebody who don't have much money, and he want to have more money. What will he do to do that? So one person can say, okay, I'll give $1 a day for beggars. And he just once a day he sees some beggar and throw $1 and go away. Comparing to a person who plan when you wake up in the morning, I'm going to give $1 today to beggars. So this planning is already a good, very good karmic seed, because it's all in the mind. A planning of doing good, something good is something good. And then he walk and search for somebody to give. Searching for doing something good is already a good seed. And think that person, the beggar, being happy in doing something good, actually accelerate the karma very strongly. So it's also very good karma. And then he give him, look to the eyes and give him with happiness and make him feel good. So it not just create good material karma, but also good mental karma of making somebody happy, and so on. And maybe he wish him, maybe you become a Buddha, maybe really healthy, maybe whatever you wish when you give it to him, use the money to learn, maybe to be healthier. And it's already creating good karma of health, good karma of abundance, good karma of spirituality. And then as he go, he remembered that and he's happy in what he did. That's also a good karma. Rejoicing in something good you did, it's also very good karma, good karmic seeds. And finally, when you go home, when you go to sleep, he dedicated. Nay, by these good actions that I did, everybody will be happy. That actually make this karma very, very strong. So you can make actually a million times more powerful karma by using your mind right. That actually it's unrelated to the physical action that you do sometimes. So as an idea, rejoicing in somebody else's good karma is very good karma. There is a story in the time of the Buddha when a king, gave a lot of money to the Buddha and coats and fed the monks and give huge amount of things, treasures. And then he come to ask the Buddha, who make the greatest merit today? He say, not you, somebody else. So again, he make this fan every time somebody else. And then he really wanted to know who doing it. And so finally the Buddha told him, these beggars, every time you do this feast and you give to the monks, he look and he's so happy in the good karma you make. And because he rejoices in your good karma, he is cultivating better karma, even greater karma than you cultivated, better karma. And that king was not really enlightened. He was very competitive, so he asked to beat the beggar before next time, and that was a very bad karma for him, basically. If he rejoiced in the rejoicing of that beggar, he would create even bigger karma. But he didn't really understand the point, so he asked to beat that beggar. And then the next day when he gave, the beggar couldn't be happy in this because he was mad at the king, and he actually cut his good karma in this respect. He couldn't generate a lot of good karma by rejoicing with the king happiness. So yes, he won the game, but it's not a good game. Game of I'm better than you was already creating bad karma for the king. But it just is an idea to emphasize it. So if this is the idea, the ultimate way of seeing emptiness is as projection coming for karma, as I say, and that changes everything. And sometimes they say it's half dependent on thing and it's half on karma. For example, some people will argue that I say that if you show me a beautiful diamond or beautiful art piece, 50% is because of my karma that I see it as beautiful, and 50% is because of the art. The art has something which calling me to see it as beautiful. Or the, I don't know, very hot girl, very beautiful woman, very beautiful house, whatever you want. Very tasty food. So 50% has to do with the person, with that object, and 50% has to do with me, with my projection. And that sounds nice, but it's not the ultimate idea of seeing it. And the ultimate way of seeing it, everything is 100% empty, in the sense that even the most beautiful thing, let's say I take the most beautiful diamond, there'll be maybe one person in the world would see it as ugly and cheap, or whatever his condition is. You could have a condition, or if you take it as an idea, the smell that a human, if I'm born as a human, I might have this conditioning generally to see, I don't know, smell of, I don't know, very beautiful women who have jasmine smell as pleasant. But it might be really disgusting for a dog or for a mosquito, for example. He's just in consciousness to have different projection, different karma, so he projects the world in a different way. For him, he's suffering. So actually, the ultimate way to see it is everything is 100% empty, and it's not even that you say, oh, he's 50% from its own side is beautiful or is ugly, and it's all about karmic seeds. That's kind of the ultimate projection. And that's actually the ultimate understanding of emptiness. It's all based 100% on karma, the object, the subject, and the projection, which means when I give somebody my projection of myself, I can see myself as somebody who is really pure and great. I see myself as somebody who's just like an idiot, or I don't know. When I project my giving, it can look like something very pure and sweet. It can be projected as something which is just kind of lacking and artificial, or even bad. When I see an object of giving, it doesn't matter what this object from its own side, I can see it as something very pure and something is very bad. You know, some people look at the Buddha or a very holy person as really as charlatans, and some people, you know, and even when they gave something to that being, it was very low karma because it was how you perceive that object, not how this object really is. And some people perceive charlatans. That's in Guru Yoga. It's very important, as actually very holy beings, and that worked for them, and that charlatan could report them into enlightenment, even though he was a charlatan, because they have really pure projection of that person. So there is this story in Buddhism where you say, if you see somebody, your teacher, as a Buddha, you'll have the blessing and teaching of a Buddha coming from him. If you see him as a Siddha, you have the blessing and guidance of Siddha coming from him. You see him as a normal person, you have the blessing and guidance of a normal person. So the whole idea in Guru Yoga is to create the seed that will force you to project somebody who's a teacher as a pure being, as an angel, as a Buddha, basically, or as a holy being. And funny or not, that kind of Mahayana idea that you want to create a perfect Buddha paradise, which means you want to see yourself as a being in a pure reality in which he projects himself all the time, creating more and more of helping this reality to be pure and helping all being all the time and forever. So you have this pure projection of the world, of yourself, and of the relationship between you and yourself, eternal. It's actually very much in common with the monotheistic religions. Because what is the goal of the monotheistic religions? They don't want to go to heaven. Some of them say, oh, I will go to heaven. But the ultimate is on this world, in a way, on the physical world, when time of Messiah, everything will be great. Wolf will live with the lamb. there'll be all peace, everything be pure and happy. So that's kind of the idea, that actually enlightenment is not just disappearing to some void or just going to nirvana, but it actually, in the manifested reality, it's the ultimate place of happiness. And that's actually a very radical thought. And I talk about the Buddha, the enlightened being in this Mahayana tradition, have 4 bodies, and each body represents a dimension in which the Buddha exists in a way. And the physical dimension, it's called the emanation body, is actually part of it. It's totally pure body in a way. And it cannot die, it can never get sick, it has all these things. And that's actually, when you talk about the resurrection of the dead in Judaism, and these things, they talk about the same kind of ideas actually. It's actually very connected in this way. And you can even get this image of, lucid dreaming, and very helpful. Some people see enlightenment, this world is like, dreaming is like samsara, every time you have a new dream, and the new dream is formed by what you did in the previous dream. So most of the people are just uncontrollably dreaming, whatever comes, a nightmare, a paradise dream, whatever, sexual dream, whatever. But there are people who manage to wake up from the dream. And that's kind of the nirvana idea. You wake up, where is the dream when you wake up? There is no dream anymore. But some people, they want to have a lucid dream, which means they can control the dream, they can bring awareness into the dream. And then they want to be dreaming engineers. They want to be able to be lucid and find this enlightenment within the dream as well, this pure consciousness within this dream, and to create the perfect, most beautiful dream possible forever. And that's maybe this ultimate idea of Mahayana Buddhism, on at least certain schools in it, and even monotheistic kind of Jewish perspective of this. It want this kingdom of heaven to be on earth, as it is in heaven, as there will be on earth. That kind of similar idea, that ultimately even the gross reality, our conscious, normal, samsaric reality, become heaven. So that's kind of a very much shared idea. And this is why compassion always have to go with emptiness. Because the highest, you cannot create the karma of becoming a Buddha unless you develop compassion. Because it's compassion, really. Compassion is when you want to save all beings from suffering. And this is why some people say, oh, we talk about compassion, it's very important for us, for everybody to be happy here. And I don't know, but those who are not fit here, they should go. No, you can't stay. Maybe you're not very compassionate to these people or whatever. Or maybe you have set criteria. Compassion is something always to all beings. It's undiscriminative, it's inclusive, which means in a way you're willing to go whatever length to help even the person who is really the worst. And there is this idea, in Shantideva, Bodhisattva Charya Avatar, the path of the spiritual warrior. He asks, should you be compassionate to a person if he kills your guru, for example? If you ruin the Buddhist monastery, if you ruin the Buddhist scriptures, if he can't kill a Buddha apparently, because it doesn't have the karma to be killed or whatever. And again, as you say, a real Buddha doesn't have a body that can be killed in the first place. They have a rainbow body. But let's say that you killed an enlightened being, an arhat, that can be killed, or should you be compassionate to a person like this, a serial killer, a murderer? Should you be compassionate to him? What is the answer?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Not actually more compassionate than to other people. Because why will people do all these horrible things? The idea is ignorance. And what is ignorance? Is a disease. It's a disease of mental affliction. So it's like you are a doctor. If you want to be a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, you're a doctor. Who, if you feel more mercy, in a way, to a very sick patient who has 4th stage whatever disease, or is I don't know, have a heart attack that almost killed him, or the person who comes to you is a measles or with, I don't know, flu. So actually, even the more a person is kind of bad, it means you have to have more compassion to him. And where even when a person who hurt you, should you be compassionate or not? So the answer, what that person actually does do, when a person, I don't punch you, he sacrifice himself. Why does he sacrifice himself? He make you burn negative karma that is there, and karma always accelerates if it just stays there. It will always manifest as stronger and stronger karma. So he make you, it make you burn some really negative karma that you have, and save you sometimes from, I don't know, a whole rebirth in a bad experience, bad realm or something. Well, he caused himself really negative karma, usually, unless it's Buddha and do it out of compassion. But most people, if they identify what they do, he creates to himself very bad karma. So in this situation, he really sacrificed himself, and you are the one who have to be more compassionate toward that person. And ultimately, there is no way, there is no being you shouldn't be compassionate to. Only maybe Buddhas you shouldn't be compassionate to. Not because they are bad, actually, the best, but because you don't need your compassion. But being compassionate to them is also very good for you because you have good intention towards something which is so noble and pure. So that's the idea. And a lot of time, and it's very important that if you get to this philosophy from meditational standpoint of this pure emptiness, this is the ultimate emptiness, all projection coming of karma, you don't even care about this pure nature of mind, basically this emptiness in which sometimes it's called the highest view of emptiness, doesn't even state that there is this pure net base of the mind awareness in which you want to be identified with, rather your personality and being. It's even deeper than that. There is this unmanifested, unborn superposition of pure consciousness where you can be everything and do everything. And that state actually where you want to go, the way to reach enlightenment in this is in these things, because you have this idea how a person reach enlightenment. In other tradition, it's usually based on concentration. You concentrate on a mantra or something and you reach samadhi. You reach this state of pure awareness, and that's basically it. But in Buddhism, we say it's not enough. You have to reach it with, for example, if you do Theravada Buddhist, it's called Pala and Maka in the Abhidhamma. If your mind is very, very saturated with this deep intellectual insight, understanding of non-self, when you reach this superposition, this state of all pure potentiality, you render out of it, because what makes you go out, because we all go into that. Actually, we all go into this superposition millions of times a second, or at least 61 times in a second, whatever it's called, the Abhidhamma. But we go out to the next karmic seed. One karmic seed comes, we manifest the whole universe, and it shrinks back into zero, into the superposition, and then you render again, and that happens so many times. It happens thousands of times a second. Like every thought moment is like the shortest quantity of time there. So, but we come in a very similar reality. We can't really go there and become a beautiful Garuda bird, or I don't know, a beautiful thing when you go out of here. The reality after 1 second later, we can talk about it also, because when we go to the next second later, we also go with the memory that what was in the past. So it might, one thought moment ago, philosophically, I could be a Garuda bird, but now I render as a being, but also the memory of being a being before, whatever, of causality, of continuity. Also, continuity is a projection. But let's say that it's actually work like this, because I enter unconsciously into this superposition state where everything is possible, and all mind streams meet, all version of time exists there, whatever. When I go down of it, I will go to something very similar to the previous moment, and this causality, continuity in a way. But when I meditate very, very deeply, if I go just with concentration into this really deep superposition thing, but I don't have set intention, I will just maybe burn karma or become like, have a very deep wisdom about things, but not real change. But for example, if I go with very, very, very deep, clear, mindful insight, direct perception of non-self, and then I will go and something deep will change, and when I go out, I'll be kind of a sotapan, a stream enter, a guy who in 7 lifetimes the most will reach nirvana, if I want. But for example, if I go to the same superposition, this high concentration level of, it's called jhana sometimes, I reach it, and I'm not just so saturated with insight of seeing one moment after another in meditation very directly, I don't know, everything is permanent, everything is non-self. I will go with this direct understanding of emptiness, very deep and intellectual understanding of emptiness and compassion. Then when I go out of this superposition, I will be a stream enterer into the Mahayana path, which means I become a Buddha within 7 lifetimes. And that's actually pretty great for the world and for myself, because the most benefit I can do for the world is becoming a Buddha. Let's say I want to help all beings now, but I have very limited knowledge, very limited purity. I have very limited control over my body and mind, of my mental impurities. I don't have CDs, I don't have special powers maybe, or very limited special powers and so on. When I'm a Buddha, my intention is pure, my powers are pure, my emanation is unlimited, so on, I can help all beings much better. So the best thing I can do, the best karma I can do for the world is to do the best I can to become a Buddha. And that seed is already a very deep seed. If I plan to use emptiness, because the idea is that everything I do, I want also to have the seed of understanding emptiness, and then we manifest and understanding more and more emptiness. So just wanting to become a Buddha without wisdom doesn't necessarily lead that result so fast, so they say. So this is why emptiness is such an important thing, and you have to, like a real practitioner, every good thing he'll do, you also practice the emptiness. Remember, it's empty. So when he get the karma back, he will not just get a lot of fun. This karma will come back, will come with wisdom, and that will actually make him plant more and more good karmic seeds. So that's maybe subject I didn't elaborate a lot, but trust me about that maybe. that it's very, very important then in Buddhist thought, when you go on that path, is to always mix this wisdom, which is emptiness, with compassion, which is really this right motivation, bodhicitta, to save all beings, and then actually what creates your own enlightenment by caring for others, actually. And a lot of people will say, okay, it's artificial, so now I'm not really doing good things to help other people, I'm doing it to help myself. So we're going to this really being selfish in the ultimate way. So the Dalai Lama will answer first, be selfish, but in an intelligent way. Be selfish in a way, because some people are selfish, I would take your money and then be happier. No, understand when you give the money, and with wisdom, understanding the emptiness of that, the karma and emptiness, you will be happier. That's already good. But that's only into one level. There is a level, if you do good thing long enough, you will not do any more good thing because you want to get good karma, which is a little bit selfish. You just feel it's the right thing because your compassion, your heart will really open. And then we just do it in the right way. So in Judaism they say, it means you start doing good thing not because really of the goodness, but because you want to benefit from it. But when you do it enough, something changes in you, and then you do it just because that's the right thing to do. And that also happened with the Bodhisattva. You might start to cultivate it at a certain level where we have to start where we are, and where we are selfish bastards usually, or we will not be here anymore. But when you do it enough, you'll turn into somebody who will really do this thing because this is the right thing to do, because your heart will open, because you really be identified and saying it's all one in one way, not sometimes it also can be understood differently. But the Bodhisattva really can see your pain just as much as you see your pain, because he's so sensitive, so empathic, he's so compassionate, and it's empty from its own ego. He doesn't have any more self-cherishing and self-grasping to this I concept. So you can really feel the other people more, like sometimes better than he can feel it himself. And he can allow himself to feel it because he's also like an empty vessel. So sometimes they see a picture of a video of Dalai Lama interviewing, and he says something like, they told him about Diana, Princess Diana who died, and her children. So when he was talking about her children that became orphan, you could see, felt the suffering to every bone in his body, to every fabric in his body. But because there is nobody there who's grasping to it to create this guilt or this and that, and that, it was just pure experience. After he felt it purely, he could let it go purely. So it was just an experience, and it could go. And it was, if you want, in a psychological term, it was transpersonal experience. It's always transpersonal. And on the transpersonal reality, nothing is suffering, because who is there who to suffer? It's not only the personality can suffer mentally. The body, with the identification, also pain, we can talk about it, is also a fabricated experience, and that can be collapsed. Some people enjoy pain, some people go for pain, pay a lot of money to have pain, like sadomasochist type of people, or whatever BDSM. So on a certain level, this whole fabrication of personality and body is appearing in what it is, which is an illusion. And then this being is always in happiness, even if you cut his leg, even when he like, you tell him, let's donate a kidney, he will act it like, oh, I have an opportunity to do something good, like somebody had relish, or let's have a chocolate cake now, or whatever, a chocolate scoop or whatever. So that can happen. That happens at a certain level, and it's even hard to imagine how that can be, but it can be apparently, and that's wonderful. So these ideas actually I think are very, very profound. I want to say that are not unique to Tibetan Buddhism. I gave the idea of mostly of Galupa school of Buddhism, In Buddhism, you have a few other approaches to it as well, and these approaches are very similar to some approach in Kashmiri Shaivism, and even in Kabbalah, in Jewish Kabbalah, you have a lot of these approaches that are kind of similar. So it's not universal. It's actually pretty universal, but obviously it's distinguished. And ultimately, it's a path of meditation. You want your mind to collapse. This one aspect of emptiness. You want your mind to collapse. It's on the meditation. There's meditation of emptiness, in which you really all the concepts that create the filters of your mind, which create me and reality, of even time, space, language, everything collapse to get into this pure suchness, this superposition, this kind of samadhi, and that is mixed usually. Now I'm talking Mahamudra and tantric things, and I can't elaborate on it because it's considered secret how to do it, but it's kind of an alchemy of mixing this emptiness with compassion, and sometimes with uncaused perfect space or all kind of thing. In Tibetan Buddhism, it has to do a lot with this alchemy of the body, with Kundalini Yoga and the tantric path, working with goddesses or deities that are already enlightened, and so on, seeing ourselves as an already enlightened being. This is called transfiguration. Because if we seeing ourselves as limited body and mind is just projection, why not projecting ourselves as divine already? And so on. So there is a lot of thinking into it. And I think I kind of said enough today.
Can
You have a question? Yeah.
You when you introduced this talk, you use the term Mahamudra.
Yes.
What is this?
Okay, Mahamudra is a
what is it?
meditation, I would say. Maybe it was, but Mahamudra is a type of meditation. Now, when I say Mahamudra, I have a lot of things. There is the Mahamudra, which is a famous Kundalini.
Mudra is just it's
No, Mahamudra is not gestures. It's also gestures. That are mudras. These gestures and stuff they're called mudras. But usually when we talk about Mahamudra, in yoga is like this big Kundalini secret techniques that can raise very powerful Kundalini, and they consider to be very secret. Then when you talk about Sutra Buddhism, Mahamudra is usually, it's called the Great Seal. Mudra is seal actually. Then it's about analyzing the 6 flavors of emptiness. When I take an object, like I see my teacher, and I can remember, for example, that my teacher is impermanent, he's coming and going, he's based on conditions and whatever. That is, that he's a non-self, that is, even what I see in him as phenomena doesn't, or the way I see it, I can analyze the 3 levels of emptiness. I can analyze the way I perceive him, I can analyze me, I can see him as an object, the subject, the object. It's the whole thing, the whole meditation system here. But whatever I say, whatever I take as an object of meditation, I can see the emptiness of it from the 6th level of flavor, the 6 flavors. I feel love now, and I feel this love is great, but it's impermanent. It's based on condition. It will go into. It started 2 seconds ago with this condition. It will go, and then I can see, for example, that it's love I feel now. It also doesn't belong to me. There were conditions that brought it. That condition keep it, and condition take it away. I cannot control it. Sometimes I want it to stay and it goes. Sometimes I want something to leave and it stays. Like I'm angry, I want this anger to go, but it just stay. I want this love to stay, but I just go now. I can feel it, so I can't control it. I can see it, this same phenomenon of love, as, for example, coming like the seed of karma that force me to project the object, the subject, and perception. For example, I have feeling this love, and I have this, I'm very happy, I'm a happiness, and I feel myself as good when I have this love. But let's say if I was a serial killer now, who about to kill his subject, and see now have this feeling of love, he can project it something bad and weakness, and see himself as weak or bad even, So it's empty from being something objectively in this aspect. It's a phenomena. That's another level. That's going another level. Another level, I see this love also as made of parts, for example. In love, there is this sensation in the body of acceleration, and there is this idea of love that I'm projecting on it, and there is this idea of me who is loving, and so on. So it's based on a lot of things, and it's made of parts. Even the concept love, when I say the word love, it's based on letters, and if I take one letter out, I will lose this concept. And even this concept, you can see, is empty, because it started from the first time I heard the word love, and I was a child, and so that's love. And I thought love is only when my mother gave me I don't know, apple, and then I expanded this consciousness. Or no, it's also when somebody else gives me heaven, is when everybody gives, whenever I give or get something from somebody out of good intention, whenever anybody give, this was kind of a concept which expand all the time, it got new, it change all the time, expand all the time, and so on. So I can see the emptiness even of the concept itself, love, and so on. That's another level which we talk about part and what it's made of. There is the thing that I understand is projection coming from karma. Or I project. I have this idea of love. It's just a projection. What is love? It's just like sensation of wanting to do good. This bliss inside, this vibration in the heart, whatever. It is appealing to me. So I can say, oh, it's only 50% love from its own side. But for example, another person would just go and say, oh, I have a heart attack. Something wrong. If somebody who never experienced love, or I don't know, for him love is a bad thing, he might or reject it, or be afraid of it, or suppress it, for example, or will see himself as bad because of it, even as weak or something. But then ultimately I can say, that is 100% empty. For another alien creature, just the same experience, data that comes, that I call love, can be called hate, for example.